The scene has shifted to the Windy City on a gorgeous 65-degree day with the United Center in Chicago. A capacity crowd, 22,000, still making their way in as the Bulls look to get back into this series. It's game 3 of the best of 7. The Miami Heat taking on the Chicago Bulls with the Heat in front 2-0, winning the first 2 in South Florida. So it's all on the line here for the Bulls tonight. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr and Craig Sager. We're ready for the first of our TNT doubleheader. A look at the McDonald's starting lineups for the Bulls. Ben Gordon coming off a 5 for 16 with Kurt Heinrich at the guards. Heinrich, 29 points in game 2, led the Bulls back. Up front, Michael Sweetney, Andres Nocioni, and Malik Allen. How about Nocioni on Monday night? 13 of 15, 30 points. And the Heat, with this lineup, Dwayne Wade averaging 25 points, 9 assists over the first 2 games. Jason Williams has played well. Shaquille O'Neal has been dominant. Udonis Haslem back from the 1-game suspension. And Antoine Walker with a solid game 2. The officiating crew, Bob Delaney, Bernie Fryer, and Mark Wunderlich. And they will jump it again. Or perhaps a stolen tap attempted, so the ball is awarded to Chicago. And Steve, here's what the Bulls have to do. All they have to do is win a 4 of 5 to beat Miami in advance. That is a very difficult task.
It is, but Marv, playoff basketball is all about momentum, and if the Bulls can win one game, that's what Scott Skiles said after game 2. If we can just win one game, we're right back in it. We've got some momentum.
Michael Sweetney taking right at Shaquille O'Neal, and Jason Williams moves it across against Ben Gordon. Scott Skiles had been toying about making changes with his starting lineup, but he's going the same way as he did the other night. Wade rims out, Nocioni with the rebound, and here comes Heinrich. Kurt Heinrich, guarded by Jason Williams. Malik Allen, who was a question mark because of back spasms. Here's Nocioni, he's been on fire, rebounded by O'Neal.
Yeah, 13 of 15 in game 2. Just incredible shooting from Nocioni. Starts off with a miss, finally.
Wade facing the double. Haslem. So we're a minute gone by and scoreless. Allen. Heinrich. Allen tried to set the screen, but Miami right on it. And picked off by Walker. Walker has Wade on the wing. Walker all the way. And that's the first bucket of the night.
Turnovers are critical for Chicago tonight, Marv. They've had so much trouble dealing with Shaq and Wade at the offensive end as it is. When Miami can get out and get easy hoops, this makes the Bulls' job that much tougher.
Heinrich on the delay. And back come the Heat, led by Jason Williams. Walker for 3. Rebounded by Sweetney. Monday night in Miami, the Heat led most of the way, led by as many as 19 in the fourth quarter, but the Bulls came back, made it close. Sweetney had to knock it down. They came back late in the fourth quarter. The Bulls were down by 11 at the half, and they were shooting 61% and trailing by 11.
Yeah, I thought they were in danger of really losing some of their confidence late, getting blown out. That comeback, despite the fact that they weren't able to win the game, Marv, as Walker misses and Wade with the rebound. I thought the comeback was important in terms of regaining their confidence coming into game 3.
Wade tried a crossover, lost it. Heinrich tried to save it, but could not. Steve, I know you've been spending quite a bit of time in the kitchen as of late.
As a matter of fact.
It's a nice looking
Marv,
hat.
yeah, thank you. But you think about what Chicago's done. I mean, they're shooting the ball so well, so how are they going to win? Well, they've got to limit turnovers. They have to contain Walker and Williams, and quicker starts are important because Miami is averaging about 65 points a game in the first half. So you do all those things, Marv, and bam, you got a recipe for a victory.
Sounds easy. 3-second violation called on O'Neal. Who did you borrow the chef's hat from? Several sizes too large.
I have a couple of them at home. Yeah. Just threw it on. But Marvin, talking about Walker and Williams, and Gordon with a little floater puts Chicago up. Walker and Williams, I think, are the guys who Skiles is most concerned with. He knows that he can't stop Shaq and he can't stop Wade. But Jason Williams, who gets fouled here and will go to the line, has been terrific, averaging 19 a game in the series. Walker has been hot, about 13 and a half. So those two guys are key tonight, I think, for Chicago. They have to stop them in order to win.
Ben Gordon called for that foul. You recall back in game 2, Scott Skiles not happy with what he saw from Ben Gordon early on, and he pulled him out first couple of minutes.
Yeah, it was 10-3 before you knew it, and I think Scott said, we've got to get some defense out on the floor, so he put Chris Duhon in. He also told us that with Gordon, you almost know immediately. He's a very streaky player, and Skiles said you almost know immediately whether he's got it physically. And he felt like he wasn't quite himself in game 2. You see the numbers bear that out, but look at the numbers in game 1. 35 points, absolutely on fire, put on a three-point shooting clinic, and they're going to need an offensive explosion from him tonight.
As Ben in game 1 hit 5 of 10 from three-point land. Chicago is 14 of 28 from three-point territory. Here's Nocioni with a nice move.
Went right around Antoine Walker, and you see Shaq backing off, doesn't want to pick up the foul. Nocioni finds his way all the way to the rim.
Wade with the shot, and Dwayne Wade has tied the game at 6. Remember, late in game 1, Wade had to be helped off the court. He had a leg cramp and did not look 100% the other night, although he still had a terrific game.
But looks very active here tonight as Heinrich gets the foul called. He'll go to the line, and Wade has looked, I think, very active tonight. He's trying to be more aggressive. You see the jumper over Heinrich. He's already taken 2 quick shots here. His numbers in the regular season in this building really poor, Marvin. This is his hometown. Very difficult sometimes for guys to come back to where they grew up and play in front of the family and friends. But he had 10 turnovers the last time the Heat were in this building. And it's been a struggle of sorts. You see the numbers there, just 14 again, 28% shooting against Chicago this year. But he's looking to get off early here tonight.
In that 10 turnover game, shot only 1 of 8 from the field. Here's Walker. Nocioni trying to draw the charge. Haslem with a rainbow. Back comes Heinrich. Heinrich whipping by Walker, and the good recovery by Haslem, so they have to regroup. Nocioni for 3, and he is fouled. He will go to the line and shoot 3.
No complaints from Dwayne Wade. Terrific penetration and probing action from Kirk Heinrich, ends up finding the open man, and a little bump. I thought he got him on the elbow. Didn't look like it there, but I think he bumped him on the body as he went by.
We're talking with Scott Skiles about Andres Nocioni, who's come a long way, because at one time last season and early on this season, there was a language problem, particularly at the defensive end. I don't know if he understood everything that was being related to him.
And Skiles said that he could relate because Scott played in Greece and was actually a player coach in Greece, and as a result had a language barrier of his own. So he understood where Nocioni was coming from. He also said that when he first came here last year, he was a good shooter from the shoulders up, but he had footwork problems, and he's put in a lot of work, really gaining balance and getting better footwork, and that's why he has improved so much this season with his outside shooting.
Chicago has an 11-6 lead. Williams for 3. Sweeney on the rebound.
Bulls looking very active defensively, Mark.
And Gordon called for the travel. That will not count. He tried to pull up, but called for steps.
The crowd does not like it, but not much complaint from anybody with Chicago.
Thinking back to that first half the other night in Miami, a furious pace, end to end, both teams hitting their shots. There's Jason Williams again firing from downtown.
Well, the Bulls want to do something about Williams, but I don't know what you can do if he's making that shot. Ben Gordon all over him and challenges the shot. It's a 25-footer, basically in transition, knocks it down.
And he got his points early the other day. 12 of his 22 came at the start. Nocioni, that's a 2-pointer, had a foot on the line. Jason Williams with a playoff career high in game 2. Nocioni right back at it. He has 7 points. Here's O'Neal. And he thought there was some contact involved. Bulls now lead 13-11.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Bulls do with Shaq down on the block. A lot of people thought they came a little bit too hard on their double teams in game 2.
Beautiful play O'Neal came out to greet the dribbler, Heinrich, and he found the open man, Sweetney.
That's what penetration will do. It'll draw the big defenders, and at that point, you've got passing lanes, you've got possible shots, and then offensive rebounding opportunities as well.
Kept the line by Haslam and a foul. Foul on Sweetney.
Malik Allen trying to step in and take the call. He's patting himself on the head. He's raising his hand. He said, please give it to me. He knows he probably won't be playing as many minutes as Sweetney. And Allen does get credit for the call.
Yeah, they do charge it to Malik Allen. That is his first. Udonis Haslam goes back following the one-game suspension, throwing his mouthpiece in the direction of the referee, Joey Crawford. That was the opening game of the series on Saturday night.
He got excellent play from Michael Doliak in game 2, filling in really for Haslam. And I think the Heat bench has played very well throughout this series. Gary Payton coming up big with some fantastic defense on Ben Gordon, helping hold him to the 5 of 16 night.
And Steve, you can add Alonzo Mourning to that Miami bench. He is dressed and is available for the first time since he was injured back in late March. Nocioni driving hard, yes, and the foul.
Boy, is he playing with a lot of confidence, Marv. 9 points already, and it's not just the jump shots that we saw in game 2. He's putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim, drawing the foul, and that's what Bulls fans love about this kid, the emotion. He's a Chicago kind of guy, despite the fact that he's from Argentina. They absolutely love him. He's their kind of guy here in the Windy City.
Foul on Haslam. Luol Deng has come on now for Malik Allen. And Nocioni hearing the chant from the crowd as he completes the three-point play. 10 points for Nocioni. Luol Deng has checked in for the first time. Miami takes a timeout, just under 6 remaining in this opening quarter. And the Bulls with a good start. They lead it 18-13. Chicago has hit his last 6 shots. Back at the United Center, time for today's Gatorade Around the Cooler report. Here's Craig Sagers.
Pat Riley has coached more playoff games than any coach in NBA history. Tonight is his 258th and his most difficult. Yesterday, he buried his mother. Mary Riley was 96 years old, and although her time had come, her passing has left the youngest of her 6 children with an anguish that he cannot explain. Pat Riley is a very private person, not one to break down in front of the media. But tonight, he said it's been a very emotional 2 days. My mom would often say, life goes on, so get on with it. But it hasn't been easy. It has taken its toll. We extend our condolences to the Riley family. Marv?
All right, thank you, Craig. The Bulls get it back. They have an 18-13 lead. And Miami felt that it was deflected out by a Chicago player.
I thought it was a good call, though, Marv. Looked like Shaq got his hand on the ball last, and the turnover resulted. And O'Neal has touched the ball only twice in the first 12 possessions. Marv, Heinrich with the air ball. But, you know, so much of the focus after game 2 was, gosh, what are we going to do about the double teams? Because every time the ball goes into Shaq, you know, we got to close out. And Skiles was very concerned about the perimeter defense playing off of Shaq. And yet, Miami really has not gone into him much yet.
It has been strictly perimeter shooting by Miami. Here's Jason Williams for 3. That's his second from downtown.
And I just don't think you can come off that corner shooter in the NBA. It's too easy of a shot. Ben Gordon slides in, tries to take the charge on Wade, and the result, a wide open look for Jason Williams.
Oh, Dang forcing. He was met by O'Neal, but it's Sweetney inside, and he'll head to the line. Good box out by Sweetney with Shaq outside, and Sweetney fouled by Walker.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. Watch the penetration, and from the left side of your screen, watch Ben Gordon slide in to help. Well, there's no helping the helper on that play because it's the corner. That's something that Greg Popovich teaches the Spurs. Nobody leaves a corner shooter. The help has to come from inside. And I think that's the proper way to play things, because if you slide over and help from that area, it's just such an easy look. Remember, that's the shortest three-point area in the NBA game.
Michael Sweetney struggles at the line at 65%. Missed on both. So James Posey check in for Antoine Walker. Posey has shot the ball very well the first two games, in particular from three-point range. They double up on O'Neal. Good play. Dang knocked it aside, and it's 3-0. Dang will put it down. Well, Dang, the helper, was able to deflect it. He has those long arms. He's an excellent defensive player. And the end result, a bucket for a Chicago 4-point lead.
Well, there's such a fine line when you're trying to double team Shaq between going down there too early or being on time. You've got to be very active, and you got to pick the right angles. And we'll see if the Bulls can continue to do so.
Shaq went with the hard driving drop step. There's Dang again. Luau Dang, who had some opening game jitters that first game of this series. He said he was nervous. His first ever NBA playoff game. Bounced back the other night and has provided a spark right here. Wade passing on the long-range shot, and it is a 3-second violation.
Omar, Scott Skiles has to be thrilled with his defense right now. Remember, Miami shot over 50% for the first two games combined, but look at the activity. 4 guys around O'Neal, and then the quick hands from Deng, the nice feed from Heinrich, getting Deng involved early. That's what a point guard should do. And now Nocioni gets called. Oh, Shaq's going to get called for the block.
Nocioni went right at O'Neal, and the foul is called on Shaquille.
And referee Mark Wunderlich pointing at the arc. And let's take a look. Is Shaq on the line? Yes, he is. Excellent call from Mark Wunderlich.
Andres Nocioni, an 84% free throw shooter. What has hurt the Heat here in the first quarter? 3 turnovers the last 5 possessions. Bulls with turnover problems in game 2. They had 19, which Miami converted into 19 points. But Chicago playing very well here at the start. They're up now 23-16. It's their biggest lead. Kirk Heinrich saying earlier that defensively the Bulls just have not been the team they were all season. And that was certainly true over the first 2 games. Here's Wade taking it to the rim. Yes! And the foul.
Wow. What a finish. Sliding between 3 Bulls defenders. Watch the screen, and he'll step through Nocioni, and then Chandler comes over and he finishes with the left hand going off the wrong foot. That's why Dwayne Wade is so special. Makes plays that most NBA players simply cannot.
Foul on Nocioni, his first. Dwayne Wade out of Richards High School in Oak Lawn, which is right outside of Chicago. Dwayne earlier this season said, of course, he loves coming back to his hometown, but there's so much pressure with ticket requests and friends reaching out.
Told his family that nobody gets to talk to me this trip. We'll talk this summer, but I will not be available for comment during the playoffs.
He will not comment to his family?
Will not comment. No commenting to the family.
Williams firing and hitting, but after the whistle foul on Heinrich, that is his second.
And I would call that conduct detrimental to the family.
Yes.
Or, you know, I mean,
fine and
relations.
suspension.
Absolutely. Mom's going to crack down hard on him.
Gary Payton has come on. Chris Duhon is checked in for Chicago. Here's Wade on the crossover. He froze Nocioni on that move. And Mark Wunderlich blowing the whistle.
He's got a foul called on Tyson Chandler.
The bucket will count, but a foul was called.
No, you said it, Mark. Wade just freezes Nocioni. Watch the quick move, and there's just nothing you can do. He elevates so high on that jumper. Nocioni just cannot challenge. Welcome back to Chicago. Bulls by 2 here late in the first quarter. Now, after game 2, Scott Skiles said that Shaquille O'Neal is setting off a chain of events that we're having a hard time dealing with once he gets the ball. Well, take a look. You'll see the Bulls come down to double. It's Kirk Heinrich coming here, and he's so deep that he can't quite get out to Jason Williams, who knocks down the three. Next play, Eric Piatkowski has that in mind. He says, I better get out to the shooter. Runs right past him. A poor closeout. Posey scores and is fouled. And then, once again, a double team, a wide open look. Nocioni can't quite get out all the way. So the closeouts are the key, and the double, a little more activity. Look at tonight, a little more activity. Deng gets the deflection, the turnover, it leads to the bucket. And Marv, it's such a fine line, and Shaq is so good at finding shooters out of the double team that it's a tough thing to do, but that's Chicago's plan, and I try to be a little more aggressive with him, but be better on those closeouts.
Off that foul a moment ago by Chandler after the Miami bucket. Bulls went over the limit, but Shaq not able to take advantage. Kept alive by Miami. Here's Payton with a very difficult angle shot. Luke Shencher has come on for the first time for the Bulls. 7'1" rookie out of Georgia Tech. Spent most of the season in the D-League with the Fort Worth Flyers. 2.5 left in this opening quarter. Look out, that's a foul as Gordon was ripped by Payton. Gary Payton's done a good job defensively on Ben Gordon. You recall late stages of game one after Gordon was on fire. And Gordon very quiet in game two.
Well, this is a cardinal sin here, Marv. You never foul the jump shooter, especially a three-point shooter, and that's the second time Miami has done this in this game. So that's 6 foul shots on two committed fouls by the Heat. So they've got to do a better job of challenging without making contact on the shooters.
So the Bulls now lead it by 3, and number 23 is in the building. So Michael is on hand. Ben Gordon shooting 3, fouled on the 3-point attempt. I think the Bulls could put a retro team on the floor. I know Charles Oakley is here. Bill Wennington doing color for the Bulls. You're on hand. John Paxson, the general manager. There's Bill Wennington. John Paxson, executive vice president, basketball operations.
How about Pete Myers, the man who replaced Michael Jordan when he left for baseball?
Here's O'Neal trying to twist his way, and he drew the foul. It's on Nocioni. So Shaq will go back to the line. Shaquille, the other night, 6 of 7 at the line. He's 5 of 8 in game one. He had a couple of do-overs because of guys jumping into the lane too quickly.
Yeah, something you always have to be careful with when O'Neal is at the free throw line. The free throw violation. You see, he clangs the first one off the board. And meanwhile, Scott Skiles trying to buy a few minutes out of Luke Shencher. Tyson Chandler just picked up a foul. Malik Allen, who's now coming back in, also has one. So he really wants Chandler in particular to be on the floor late when it really counts against O'Neal. So he's trying to avoid that second call.
Yes, Tyson Chandler has been in heavy foul trouble in both games. Shaq only 47% at the line during the regular season, and tonight he's missed his first 3. Bulls have a 26-21 lead. Chicago has hit 8 of 14 from the field. Here is Duhon open for 3. Just under 2 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr and Craig Sager. Duhon did a good job in not allowing Wade to move by him, but he's called for the foul. He got him with his body.
Tough call there. Duhon looked like he stayed in front of him with his feet, but Bob Delaney with the call. Duhon not happy.
Reminder, national coverage of the NBA playoffs continues this week. Tomorrow on ESPN, it'll be Game 3 of the Cavaliers and the Wizards, followed by Game 3 of the Suns and the Lakers. An impressive performance by Kobe and his Lakers last night to even up that series. Also, Friday on ESPN2, that's tomorrow night, Game 3 of the Spurs and the Kings. And Sunday on ABC, Game 4 between the Heat and Bulls, followed by Game 4 of the Suns and the Lakers. Bulls up by 3 points. Duhon and Gordon now in the backcourt. Shencher up front with Deng and Allen wide open opportunity, and Ben Gordon took advantage.
And that's got to drive Pat Riley crazy. Not only do he allow Gordon to get to the middle, but nobody comes over to help. Shaq was completely turned around there.
7 points for Gordon. Wade off balance. Got glass. Here comes Gordon. Oh, look out. And Gordon lost it. He had his eye on Wade. Wade cut him off, and he forced him off to that far baseline.
Well, he was in his blind spot. It's like when you're changing lanes, you don't see that car behind you. It was exactly what Wade was doing right there behind him where he couldn't see him, and then sort of caught him off guard and forced the turnover.
Here's O'Neal going at Spencer, and he's called for the offensive foul. That's his second personal.
Boy, you talk about a bonus for Scott Skiles. He was thinking maybe I throw Spencer out there to pick up a couple fouls, use a few on O'Neal. Instead, it goes the other way. Watch the hook. O'Neal's going to get the ball, go right at the rookie. And look at the left arm. Excellent call by the officials. You can't stick that arm out and use it to get around your defender. And here comes Alonzo Mourning.
So Alonzo Mourning makes his return from the calf injury. Shaq has turned it over now 4 times. A minute left in this first quarter. So the footwork by Gordon trying to get free from Payton.
Interesting, Marv. You know, we talked a lot about Shaq and the fact that he had a couple of days rest before this game. To me, he looks sluggish. He looked so sharp the first 2 games. Looks almost tired tonight.
Yes, he was dominant over those first 2. Here's Posey for 3. Mourning with the rebound. Walker will not count. Offensive foul. Antoine Walker, another native of Chicago, that time forced the issue and is called for a second.
How about Luke Schenzer here coming up, and his feet were outside the arc. I thought he was moving into the player, though. I thought that should have been a block, but he gets the benefit of the call, and he steps out. Othella Harrington will come into the game. Pat Riley couldn't believe that call.
Luke Schenzer, the 3rd Australian 7-footer student to play here in Chicago. I know you know Luke Longley, a member of 3 Bulls championship teams. You know the other 7?
I do, as a matter of fact. Chris Anson.
You are correct. He was here, what, 6 years ago? You know your Bulls history.
I do.
There must be a tie somewhere. Shot clock down at 2. Gordon for 3. Yes. A rainbow from Ben Gordon. Final seconds of the first. Here's Posey. And this capacity crowd reacting to the Bulls. They lead it 31-23. They were on fire here at the start. 10 of 18, 56%. Led by Andres Nocioni with 11. Ben Gordon with 10. Chicago trying to get back into this series, trailing 2-0, up by 8 after 1. Welcome back to Chicago. This is a great sports city. Look at Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. Cubs back in action tomorrow afternoon against the Brewers. 1 quarter complete. And the Bulls have a 31-23 lead on the Heat. Good shooting start for Chicago, in contrast to what took place first 2 games of the series.
Yeah, we talked about the importance of a quick start, and look at the defense the Chicago Bulls are playing. Just 23 points on 35% shooting for Miami, so this is exactly what Skiles hoped for coming in tonight.
And a tripping foul for Bob Delaney. Out on Othella Harrington. Ben Gordon scoring the last 8 points of the first quarter for Chicago.
And with Kirk Heinrich on the bench, Gordon will still be the focal point of this Bulls offense. We're going to run everything through him.
Wade and Payton in the backcourt for Miami. This is Payton for 3. Gary Payton from downtown. Gary Payton the other night, game 2, 23 minutes, hit 4 of 8 11 points.
Once again, there's that help coming from the strong side corner, leading to a wide open look.
There's Harrington, rebounded by Posey. Posey up front now with Mourning and Haslam. Alonzo Mourning making his return here tonight. Wade with the cross court. And Haslam with the open shot. Udonis Haslam back after that one-game suspension, so he's cut the Chicago lead down to 3.
That's beautiful ball movement. The ball goes from side to side. The defense is scrambling, and usually you're going to end up with an open look.
Good hustle. James Posey diving for it. Bulls maintain possession. Scott Skiles has Gordon and Duhon in the backcourt. Dang up front with Allen and Harrington. Duhon. He's being played by Wade. Allen sets the pick, and it's an illegal screen. Offensive foul on Malik Allen.
Yeah, Chris Duhon actually should get the blame for that because he took off on his move before Allen was set. Not much Allen could do at that point. Take a look. Wade's going to anticipate that it's coming that way. And watch, Allen is not really there yet. Duhon needed to take an extra split second to set up that screen.
Tyson Chandler back, replacing Malik Allen, who just picked up a second foul. A lot of whistles here at the start of the second quarter. Get a foul on the Bulls.
We're going to get Duhon on the hold, trying to cover Dwayne Wade on that curl. Skiles likes to have Duhon out there covering Wade. He's very physical and quick, can stay with him. Wade has picked up a couple of early fouls on him.
Dang off the intercept. Mourning is back. Dang to the pull-up. Yes. No, Dang. Played very well. And he's extended the Chicago lead to 5.
Had 14 points in game 2 after really not playing a whole lot in game 1. I thought that stretch in game 2 was important when the Bulls were down, and Dang got a lot of shots up, found his rhythm.
Duhon, 4-3. Chandler able to sweep it to Dang. And here's Dang. Haslam with the save that carried out of bounds.
Well, I asked Scott Skiles before the game if he'd like to see the game in the 90s, and he said, you know, not really. I mean, even though that's where most of their games were in the regular season, he really feels like they have to attack this Heat defense and really get Shaq and Alonzo into a running game. He said the keys are we can't turn it over, and we've got to close out better, but we've got to do the same things offensively, and that means attack.
Once again, Dang is off. When he gave his keys, was he wearing a chef's hat?
No, as a matter of fact, he wasn't. But I thought it looked pretty good on me, didn't you?
Yeah.
I could be a chef's assistant, perhaps.
Kurt Heinrich getting set to check back in. And the foul is called on Duhon as Wade went for the crossover. That's 3 on Duhon.
Yeah, 3 quick ones, and Heinrich will come in now to replace him. Take a look at Ben Gordon here early in the game, getting involved. The layup, floater off the glass. How about here? Nobody helping defensively for Miami. And then the wide open corner 3. Gordon off to the quick start here, has 10 points in just 15 minutes of action.
Now Derek Anderson will come on for the first time in the series. He's been out with the flu. Pat Riley going deeper into his rotation. Shaquille O'Neal has returned. A triple team O'Neal and a foul. Tom Delaney telling the Bulls to settle down as the call is made on Chandler.
And that's 2 fouls in just a couple of minutes of action for Chandler. Scott Skiles has talked about the importance of keeping him on the floor. Chandler making it difficult to do so.
And very quickly, the Bulls with their 4th team foul. Bad pass from Payton.
And that's turnover number 9 for Miami. Pat Riley cannot be happy. His team was so efficient offensively games 1 and 2, but with 41% shooting here and some very sloppy passing in game 3.
Bulls now have Heinrich and Gordon in the backcourt with Chandler up front along with Harrington and Dang. Here's Dang to the bucket and fouled by O'Neal. That's number 3.
Now this is what you have to do against Shaquille O'Neal. Be aggressive with him at both ends of the floor, and when you get some penetration and he has to help, there's always a chance of a foul, and that's number 3.
Back at the United Center in Chicago, it is time for Toyota's moving forward.
Well, after missing the playoffs for 6 consecutive years following the Judd Buechler, Michael Jordan era, Marv, of course, Bulls had to do something. GM John Paxson decided he had to change a losing culture. Well, what better way to do that than to draft and sign winners? Look at this list. Kirk Heinrich, 2 Final Fours. Deng and Duhan, Duke teammates at the Final Four. Ben Gordon, an NCAA champion, and of course Nocioni won that gold medal in 2004. They've put together a nice crop of young players who believe in Scott Skiles, who compete 2 years in a row now. They've led the NBA in field goal percentage defense. They get after you. It's a nice young core here at Chicago.
But a team that still needs a star scorer. And they do have the Knicks first-round pick.
Yes. And
as part of the Eddie Curry deal.
And the ability to swap first-round picks with the Knicks in the following year if they choose. And so they've got a lot of assets, a lot of options. There's been talk that maybe they go after Kevin Garnett or Jermaine O'Neal, try to add that big man in the middle, and certainly they've got the assets to do so with the draft picks and this fine young crop of young players.
Michael Doliak has come on for the first time. Shaquille O'Neal sits down. Here's Anderson. And a good job as Haslem kept it alive. This is Derek Anderson. He's up front with Udonis Haslem, Michael Doliak, Dwayne Wade, and Gary Payton in the backcourt. Wade, Doliak with the rebound. Doliak played well in Game 2 the other night in Miami.
Well, everything's going to go through Dwayne Wade now with Shaq on the bench, so the Bulls can afford to help a little bit more on him and not worry about O'Neal.
Here's Doliak. I'm not sure if that was a pass or a shot, but it leads to a Chicago foul as Haslem was hit. Foul on Sweetney. So they are now over the foul limit.
Yeah, interesting game so far. O'Neal with just 2 points and 3 fouls. We talked about the fact that he plays so well on rest, and he's got 2 days rest coming into this game, and yet he kind of looked out of it from the start, didn't he?
And this is a terrific start for the Chicago Bulls, who have been having their problems in the first quarter. They were able to hit 10 of 18 from the field. They lead it here by 6 points. And as you mentioned, they have Shaq now on the bench with 3 personal fouls. It could not be any better from Scott Skiles' point of view.
No, 36% shooting for Miami, so the defense is finally where he wants it, and just 4 turnovers.
Here's Heinrich for 3. That's his first field goal. Chicago now leads 37-28.
Well, I hear Doug Collins say it all the time, Marv. You never want to give a playoff game away because momentum can shift so quickly, and you can really feel it with the fans here. They're sensing that their team is right there. If they can just pull one off as Wade misses a jumper, they can get back into this thing. They almost had the upset in both games 1 and 2 in Miami.
Gordon. Rebounded by Haslem. Five minutes gone by. We're in the second quarter. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager. Open shot for Anderson. Derek Anderson hits the 3.
A little too much help from Chicago. They're awfully active tonight, but occasionally you can come too far off of shooters, and nobody within 10 feet of Anderson.
Foul on Doliak. Got a piece of Heinrich. Non-shooting foul. 13th foul called on Miami. And Andres Nocioni will return, replacing Othello Harrington. Here's Antoine Walker for Udonis Haslem. Haslem did a good job off the boards with 7 rebounds.
And I love this lineup for Scott Skiles, where Deng and Nocioni are playing the forward positions. Both small, but quick and strong, very active defensively. They've got offensive skills as well.
Antoine Walker handling. Walker all the way. Rebounded by Sweetney. Nearly traveled. And here comes Heinrich. Nocioni in the open floor. Oh, what an adjustment. What a move by Nocioni.
It's exactly what the Bulls want to do defensively. Force a turnover or a bad shot and get out and run. Even when Shaq's not on the floor, they feel like they can push the ball past this Miami defense.
13 points for Nocioni. Bang tipped it. Miami maintains possession. And a timeout is taken. Just under 6 to play in this first half. And this crowd on its feet. The Bulls lead by 8 points.
Last time, she made you talk. This time, she'll leave you speechless.
Sorry.
The new season, Kira Sedgwick returns as the closer. Coming this June, only on TNT.
Well, it's been a different story here tonight in Chicago, Marv, from games 1 and 2. Take a look at the numbers. The points in the paint, absolutely dominated by Miami in games 1 and 2. 52-30, 54-30. Look at tonight, 18-6. Bulls have contained Shaquille O'Neal and then penetrated to the hoop at will. There's finally a couple points in the paint for Dwayne Wade, but really been a different story here for the Bulls.
First field goal for Wade in this second quarter. So the Bulls with the ball now lead by 6. And Joliak coming over the back of Sweetney called for that foul.
Second personal, third team foul.
Non-shooting foul. Ben Gordon is back. Gordon and Heinrich at the guard. Sweetney, Nocioni, and they bang up front. Sweetney gets inside. That will count. And the foul.
Omar, the criticism of this Miami Heat team, and there's been a lot of it, has been mainly at the defensive end of the floor. And you watch tonight and you see why people are saying that they have problems. Look how easy this is. No rotation from Anderson, although he's got a long way to come there. But the Bulls are spreading Miami out. They're attacking the rim. And so far, the Heat big men have been very slow to react.
And you have to wonder if Pat Riley is reluctant to use Alonzo Mourning, who got a short run earlier. And we have not seen him since, even after Shaquille picked up a third foul. Heinrich facing a double. Sweetney gets inside, and the Bulls are taking advantage down low.
A little bit of a hybrid man-to-man zone there. Antoine Walker stayed on the side of the floor with Heinrich, but it didn't matter. Nobody came to help on the penetration, and Pat Riley's going to talk about it. This has been atrocious defense here, particularly in the second quarter for Miami.
Steve, how about Kirk Heinrich? 7 assists, no turnovers, just under 5 to play in the first half, and the Bulls have their biggest lead of the night. All right, thank you, Craig, and congratulations to Craig and Stacy Sager. They welcomed their second child this past Tuesday. Ryan Robert joined the door to Riley. Ryan Robert weighing in at 8 pounds, 5 ounces. Nice move by Dwayne Wade. And the Bulls now lead 43-35, so it has been an eventful couple of days for Mr. Sager.
Tyson Chandler awaiting the birth of his first child any second now. He has said, though, he will continue to play if the birth is imminent.
Off the turnover, Nocioni diving for it, looks to get it back, but it's deflected out. It will be Miami ball.
Just the 5th turnover for Chicago, Marv. That's been one of the keys that we talked about. They had too many of them down in Miami, but so far tonight, done an excellent job of taking care of the ball, but they've got to continue to do so.
Derek Anderson will put it in play. Anderson is up front with Doliak and Walker, Wade, and Williams at the guards. Here's Jason Williams taking to the rim. Beautiful move. Extension by Jason Williams, who continues to play well in this series. He now has 10 points in this first half. We come up on 4 minutes to play, and the Bulls lead by 6. Miami doing it without Shaquille O'Neal sitting down after collecting a third foul. Gordon met on a switch by Doliak. Shot clock to 3. Nocioni. Good job by Sweetney. Here's Gordon. Here's three. And Sweetney goes down. Took a hip check from Goliath.
Well, how about the play of Sweetney? 8 points and 6 boards. He's been very active, particularly at the offensive end of the floor, and also chipping in offensively. Kurt Heinrich with 7 assists. There he is feeding Sweetney, and Heinrich has really played the perfect point guard game here, getting all of his teammates involved, finding everybody, knowing where the hot hand is. And meanwhile, Sweetney, his struggles from the line continue. 0 of 4 now.
Michael Sweetney only a 65% free throw shooter, which is actually up from a year ago where he hovered around the 50% mark. Out of Georgetown, first round pick of the Knicks. 3 years back, the 9th selection overall. He was acquired from New York along with Tim Thomas. And the deal for Eddie Curry, Tim Thomas fell out of favor dramatically here in Chicago and has been a star as a member of the Phoenix Suns. Here's Williams. Sweetney with another rebound.
Boy, Scott Skiles would love to get this lead up to 10 or 12 points heading into the half mark. You know Shaq's going to stay on the bench, so got to take advantage of his absence.
Here's Pargo just checked in, called for the traveling violation. Gennaro Pargo handling the ball for the first time and turns it over.
I think Skiles went to Pargo for some energy against Williams. He wanted some defense. And Duhan with 3 quick fouls. Gordon maybe a little tired, so Pargo being asked to cover Williams.
Foul on Sweetney. Dang fell down as he tried to defend on Walker. That's the second on Sweetney. Right here, we'll check in with Ernie Johnson back in our Atlanta studios.
It's a Southwest Airlines game break, and coming up on the T-Mobile halftime report, Kenny and Charles are here, and so is the Sixers' Chris Webber. Also, let's update you on what's going on with the Pacers and the Nets. Good start for New Jersey as Peja Stojakovic returned to the lineup for Indiana, but Jason Kidd picked his pocket and fed Richard Jefferson for a couple. Big score for Indiana has been Jermaine O'Neal. He had 19 in the half, 23 right now in the third period, and it's a 62-61 game. Indiana with the lead over New Jersey. Now back to Marv and the chef.
Nice to know Ernie's out there watching carefully.
Fix him up something later if he wants.
Bulls up by 6 points, 3 minutes to play in the first half. And Luke Shencher back on the floor for Chicago. Alcione with the rebound. Goliath able to haul it in. Walker looking to post. Nice spin move as he beats Dang along the baseline.
Walker and Williams trying to get themselves going. Remember, they were so big in the first 2 games. Williams has been hot here, 10 points. Walker, that's just his second field goal, but with O'Neal out, he should have more chances to score.
Heinrich. Goliath with the rebound, so Miami has been able to battle back, trailing by as many as 10. They're in the midst of a 7-1 run as we approach 2 minutes to play in the first half. Anderson for 3. Pargo with the save, and the Bulls push it down. Pargo, yes. Gennaro Pargo in his 4th season out of Arkansas. He's an instant offense guy. He's had his moments here in Chicago.
Boy, last year we were here, hit 3 threes in about 30 seconds. One of the great offensive performances you'll ever see. And he hits the jumper here to stem the tide a bit for Chicago.
439 blocks, 3,491 rebounds, 3,788 points in the paint, 498 dunks, 901,600 fans yelling, all for the Miami Heat to earn the right to keep on playing. The NBA playoffs.
Well, off that jumper a moment ago by Gennaro Pargo. Bulls up by 6 with just under 2 minutes to play in the first half.
And I think this is a critical minute 50-second stretch here for Chicago. Remember, games 1 and 2, Miami in each game went into halftime on huge runs and extended what were 4 to 6 point leads to about 10 or 12. And for Scott Skiles, he knows with O'Neal on the bench with foul trouble, this is an opportunity for Chicago to have that double-digit lead going into the half, but only 6 right now. Miami with a chance to cut into it.
And because of that foul difficulty, Shaq is in on the floor only 12 minutes of this first half. He's attempted only 2 shots, 1 of 2 from the field, 3 rebounds. That's been it. Wade will throw in. Heinrich playing with 2 fouls. Haslem sets the screen. Wade nowhere to go, and Heinrich took it away. Pargo being played by Williams. Pargo with the jumper. Rebounded by Schencher. He's done a nice job in limited time. Heinrich open for 3. Haslem with the save. And here's Walker in the open floor. Met by Dang. Walker pounding it. Walker squeezing one. Rebounded by Dang.
Boy, how about the long arms of Luol Deng coming out of nowhere to block that shot.
Pargo pulling it back. Finds Schencher. Beautifully done. Pargo to the 7'1" Luke Schencher.
One of the best bench cores in the NBA, Marv. They average 38 points a game. Bulls have gotten a big lift from Schencher and Gennaro Pargo.
Bulls have an 8-point lead. Under a minute left in the first half. Williams. Oh, what a move. He challenged Schencher. Felt contact and was able to score. Chicago up by 6. Jason Williams has 12 points. Pargo on a pullback. Rebounded by Walker. Half-minute left in this first half.
Scott Skiles not thrilled with the shot, Marv, but Bulls will get the ball back, assuming they can secure a rebound. And that's going to be a carry on Dwayne Wade. That's turnover number 11 in this first half for Miami. This is something that can almost be called every play, and I think the officials just have to call it occasionally just to keep a lid on this maneuver. And, you're going to see that called sometimes, sometimes not, but definitely a discontinuation of the dribble.
Ben Gordon checked back in for Chicago. Gary Payton, Eric Anderson report back. 23 seconds to go in this first half. The high point men in the half. Dwayne Wade has 13. Jason Williams has 12. A lot of scoring out of the backcourt for Miami. Andres Nocioni with another superb performance. 13 points for Nocioni. Gordon with 10. And apparently there is an adjustment being made on the clock. And another issue, Alonzo Mourning now checking in. Pat Riley said with the dead ball, he wanted to make yet another substitution, and it is now allowed as Mourning comes on for Walker.
And Heinrich will go to the bench for the. No, actually, he'll stay in. But a lot of players with the Bulls with 2 fouls, and that's something to look for in the second half.
Bulls working the clock down. Both teams are over the foul limit. Down to 10 seconds of the half. Nocioni set the screen. Nocioni wide open for 3. Rebounded by Haslem, and time runs out in this first half. Halftime at the United Center. The Bulls trying to get back into the series. They're trailing 2 games to nothing. And they lead the Miami Heat at halftime 48-42. Dwayne Wade still discussing that palming violation that was called, talking with the official, Bob Delaney. Let's go to Craig Sager. He has Michael Sweetney.
Oh, we've talked about the fact that Shaq's only played 12 minutes and has 1 basket and 3 fouls, but we also mentioned earlier he touched the ball only twice in the first 12 possessions. Defensively, what'd you do against him?
Defensively, it wasn't nothing. I mean, they just wasn't giving him the ball right at the right times. We were fortunate that he wasn't getting it deep on us because he had us pinned a couple times, but we was fortunate that they didn't see him open.
It's a tough assignment for anybody. Number one priority, keep Shaq off the block. All those summers he worked out with Patrick Ewing and Alonzo and everybody at Georgetown, how does that help you against Shaq?
It doesn't help me at all because Shaq, he's the one and only guy. I mean, he's the hardest guy ever to guard. I'm trying to do my best to keep him far away from the basket as possible.
Great first half so far. Michael Sweetney, 8 points and 5 rebounds. Now let's go to EJ at TNT Arena in Atlanta. EJ.
Earth, Wind, and Fire providing the soundtrack as we welcome you back to Chicago. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr and Craig Sager ready to go in the second half. But first, Steve, to capture what took place in that first half, let's revisit the Steve Kerr recipe.
Yes, let's. I'm actually wearing an apron in that picture, too. You can't quite tell. But look at the turnovers. Chicago with 35 combined in games 1 and 2. Just 6 tonight. That's helped them get back in defensive transition. And that's why Miami is shooting just 40%. The quick start in the first quarter helped them get the lead. But Jason Williams still hot here, Marv. 12 points for him. He's the only reason that Miami is within 6 because Shaq, saddled with that foul trouble, has been sitting for most of the first half. See if Miami tries to go back into him right away to get him going.
Bulls have led by as many as 10. They have a 6-point lead. Here's Wade from O'Neal. Nice pass from Shaq. Wade not able to put it down. Bulls open up with Heinrich, Gordon in the backcourt. Nocioni with Allen and Sweetney up front. Shot clock down to 6. Heinrich with a runner. Been an excellent all-around game for Kirk Heinrich. 7 points, 7 assists.
And it has not shot the ball well yet, but that's the kind of play that can get you going. Just seeing that ball go through the hoop once will help you the next time.
Udonis Haslem made his return tonight following that one-game suspension. 6 points, 9 rebounds for Haslem. Bulls 50, the Heat 44. A game of desperation for Chicago trying to get back into the series. And as Nocioni makes his move, he is hacked. Foul on Walker, that's his third. As we check out tonight's deep game summary, Miami shooting just 40%, actually a shade under at 39.5. That's more like it from the Chicago point of view. That's what they did during the regular season at the defensive end. Miami 4 of 11 from downtown.
How about 6 assists and 11 turnovers for Miami, and the points in the paint dramatically different here tonight from games 1 and 2. Really amazing, Marv, that Miami was down just 6 at halftime considering the foul trouble and the poor offensive execution.
Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
According to the Miami coaching staff, that was one half of the stats don't lie. Steve mentioned the points in the paint. The Miami Heat led the league with 35 during the regular season. They averaged 53 in the first 2 games of this series. Tonight, the Bulls outscoring the Heat in the paint 24-16. According to Pat Riley, that shows passive and porous defense. Offensively, not much different. Only 6 assists, 11 turnovers. Sure, Shaq was in foul trouble. The problems extend beyond Shaq's foul trouble.
And we are seeing the Bulls on just about every loose ball, hitting the floor, diving. Seen that from Sweetney, from Nocioni, and the foul will put Gordon at the line. If it's O'Neal, it's number 4, and it is.
Wow. You know, there's Michael holding up number 4. He's a Bulls fan. Well, this is incredible, Marvin. You mentioned it. The Bulls are beating Miami to every loose ball. The Heat do not have the edge that they had in the first 2 games. And you see this sometimes in the playoffs. You get up a little bit, and just human nature, you maybe let your guard down just a little bit. I don't think the Heat came into this game as alert as they did in the first couple games, and it's showing particularly with Shaq. Here's the foul. An excellent job by Gordon to attack the rim And if you're Shaq, you've either got to let him go or try to go up and block that shot. He just sort of half-heartedly leaned his body in there, and that's why he draws the foul.
Kid O'Neal plays 28 seconds in the second quarter in all, a minute and 44 here in the third. He has not been able to remain on the floor.
And the effect is that the Bulls can now play their normal defense. They don't have to worry about Shaq posting up down low, and meanwhile, Walker knocks down the three just as I say that.
Chicago's lead is 6. We're just underway here in the third. Gordon got the step. Gordon going high off glass.
That's a blocked shot for almost anybody else in the league. Alonzo Mourning timed it perfectly, but Gordon with that floater as good as anybody in the league. I think he's right up there with Tony Parker on that little runner.
And the foul is called. Alonzo Mourning is back. Played only 4 minutes in the first half, making his return here tonight.
Here's the play we're talking about right here. If he tries to lay it in, Mourning just throws that thing up into the suite where Michael Jordan is enjoying the game right now. Instead, he adds the extra arc, puts it off the glass. That's feathery.
Alan Osioni, his third. Jason Williams with his third straight productive game, now has 13 points.
And remember, Pat Riley signed Jason Williams and Walker because after Game 6 and 7 against Detroit a year ago, he said, I've got to get another playmaker on the floor for this club. And Williams is showing why Riley made that decision in the first place. Creating plays, making shots.
Here's Malik Allen. Malik Allen, former member of the Miami Heat, spent 3.5 years with Miami, finished up with Charlotte last season with Darius Singila injured. Allen's role has been expanded, although he is playing with back problems. A question mark for tonight, but he's in the starting lineup. Haslem with a nice move, and he is fouled. Helped up by Alonzo Mourning. Foul on Michael Sweetney, that's number 3. And Haslem shaken up.
It's interesting to watch Miami. As soon as Shaq goes out of the game, the offense changes completely. And they become an attacking, slashing team. They run screen and rolls, get the ball moving side to side. And they're giving Chicago a little bit of trouble here, finding their way to the free throw line.
Giannis Haslem in his third season out of the University of Florida. He was not drafted after 4 years at Florida. Played a year in France. Signed with Miami as a free agent. He's been a valuable player. He's worked his way into the starting lineup.
Remade his body. He was about 60 pounds overweight after his senior year at Florida and realized he had to get himself in better physical condition and did just that. Now he's an integral part of this club.
And Sweetney took that pass. 3-second violation is called. He was looking for position on Mourning, so the Bulls turn it over.
And Miami continues to hang around, Marv. We've talked about Shaq's foul trouble all night, and yet the Heat somehow managed to keep this thing between 6 and 8.
Haslem. Walker passed on a 3. Williams will take it. Yes. Jason Williams from downtown. And Miami is within 4.
Stretching this defense out, Marv. They've got them on a string right now with their penetration.
Williams has hit 3 of 4 from beyond that three-point line. Heinrich right back. He had a foot on the line. That's a 2. The Bulls 59, the Heat 53.
This is where Chicago has to tighten up defensively. They're the best team in the league in field goal percentage defense, and an offensive foul on Alonzo Mourning on the screen. But, you know, you can understand when the Bulls don't defend well when Shaq's out there. But when he's on the bench, this is where they have to excel, and Heinrich does a nice job there. Not much contact, but Mourning picks up the foul.
Here's Heinrich. Got the step on Mourning, who was able to recover. And Osioni gives it right back. Heinrich for 3. Handled by Walker. Wade. Walker from downtown. Antoine Walker knocks it down, and Miami is down by just 3.
Williams with 17, Walker with 11. They're keeping this club in the ballgame.
Miami now 7 of 14 from the three-point line. Sweetney kicks it back out. Heinrich with a 3. It's a three-point festival here in the third. The Bulls now lead by 6.
This game's starting to look more and more like games 1 and 2. Both teams showing a lot of aggressiveness offensively and knocking down perimeter shots.
And pass overthrown. And Heinrich accelerates. Heinrich to Gordon. Yes! Ben Gordon from downtown, and Miami will talk it over. The Bulls extend to a 9-point lead. 6:43 to go in this third quarter. We'll be back in Chicago in a moment.
Ben Gordon with another big night offensively. He's got 16, and here's that floater you just saw in all those highlights. What makes it so difficult is big men freeze a little bit, and they're not quite sure when the offensive player is going to release it. That's how guys like Parker and Ben Gordon can get into the lane and finish plays. The normal layup ends up blocked. You got to release it a little early and float it up high.
Miami with the ball now down by 9, and they're hit with an offensive foul. Illegal pick called out Alonzo Mourning.
Well, Alonzo clearly out of rhythm. He's missed the last few weeks of action with that calf injury, and the first one, there really wasn't much contact. You'll see on this one, he steps down and just a little lean. Yep, you can't do that. He's moving his feet. The foul, Heinrich will go to the line.
Once again, Mourning. Now they say Williams now. Jason Williams picked up the foul.
But you look at Mourning, Marvin, and you know, a big part of his game is setting screens. And setting screens is about timing. There's a rhythm and a flow to everybody's offense. And when you're out for an extended period of time, it's not only your jump shot that can really get stale, but it's your screen setting and your rhythm as well.
Well, particularly a guy like Mourning who's so active and looks to block shots, and he sits down, replaced by Michael Goldiak. This is the biggest lead of the night. Chicago up by 11. Let's check in with Craig.
Well, after yesterday's practice, Alonzo Mourning was holding court with the media. After several minutes, Dwayne Wade leaned in and half-heartedly said, "So are you still milking that injury?" Alonzo was taken back, had a long sigh, then said, "Thanks, Dwayne, thanks, bro," and stormed off. Although Wade was making what he thought was a lighthearted comment, it hit a mark with Zoe, hit a nerve. He is known as the ultimate warrior. He felt he was maybe not helping his team, and he was not helping the way he could. He went to Pat Riley just before the game and said, "The time has come for me to play."
Bad timing in terms of the sense of humor exhibited by Dwayne Wade, who just picked up the foul. So Wade hits the deck. Foul on Heinrich. That's his third.
So Wade, in effect, talked Mourning into coming back unwittingly. Here's a quote from Alonzo Mourning in this week's Sports Illustrated. I thought it was very interesting. He says, I hope we don't run out of time. I just hope we get it before it's too late. Well, that clearly implies that they don't get it yet. And for a guy like Alonzo Mourning, who prides himself on his defense and his intensity, you know it drives him crazy to see this Miami team just let people get into the lane and allow penetration and not be the defensive club that he thinks they should be.
And a terrific story by S.L. Price capturing Pat Riley and the Miami Heat in this week's edition of Sports Illustrated's Coach Heinrich able to knock it down. That's 18 points for Heinrich. 13 of the 18 have come here in the third quarter. Remember, in game 2 had the big finish in the fourth. The Bulls now lead 71-60. Wade dumps it off. Here's Haslam. He is fouled. He was pushed. And Haslam will go to the line.
Well, Heinrich's starting to pick it up. You've got Gordon hot, Nocioni with 15. So the Bulls starting to get multiple options. And Heinrich, that floater that he hit early in the half that rattled in, that got him going. He saw the ball go through the hoop, gained a little confidence. Now he's hit 5 of his last 6.
Foul charge to Sweetney. That is number 4. Michael Sweetney seeing quite a bit of action here tonight. Michael, a guy who's been in the starting lineup. He's been inactive. Fell out of favor with Scott Skiles. Not pleased with Michael not losing weight earlier in the season, but he is back as the starting center. It's been Tyson Chandler coming in for Sweetney.
It's been really a rotating group of starters for Scott Skiles, who had a roster full of players who have contributed at one point or another, and now the Bulls will go to a very small lineup. Here's Heinrich wide open.
Wade able to wrestle that rebound free. Wade met by Heinrich. Bullet pass and a beauty. Haslam fouled again. So Wade saw the mismatch. He had Ben Gordon on Udonis Haslam. Gordon with the foul. Haslam back to the line. National coverage of the NBA playoffs will continue this week. Tomorrow on ESPN, it'll be Game 3 of the Cavaliers and the Wizards, followed by Game 3 between the Suns and the Lakers. Also, tomorrow, ESPN2 will present Game 3 of the Spurs and Kings. And Sunday on ABC, Game 4 of this series, Heat and Bulls, followed by Game 4 between the Suns and the Lakers. How about the turnover stats? Chicago with just 7. Miami with 14.
And the Bulls, we've talked about it earlier, averaged about 16, 17 turnovers per game in the first 2 meetings in this series. So the improved ball handling has helped their defense. Now they're able to get back, set up in transition, not give up any easy ones. That's what's helped them get this lead. And now Miami goes to his own.
Here's Dang. Nocioni able to save it. Fires it back. Gordon for 3. Yes! And Ben Gordon has found the ring. 19 for Gordon. The Bulls 74. The Heat 63.
I don't know if Miami can play a zone against this lineup. A lot of good shooters and penetrators. The Bulls can really attack Miami here.
Walker for 3. Slapped away by Allen, and it carried out of bounds. Miami maintains possession.
About 3 different times the Bulls penetrated into the lane here. That really scattered the Miami zone and leaves Gordon wide open. He is not going to miss that shot very often.
Ben Gordon now 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Officials checking with each other in terms of the shot clock, and they readjust it. Miami has the full 24. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager were at the United Center in Chicago. Sellout crowd, better than 21,000. Bulls second in attendance in the NBA, right behind the Detroit Pistons. Walker for 3. Heinrich on the rebound. And again, the Bulls push it. Nocioni fires for 3. Rebounded by Chandler. Chandler. Yes! And the foul. Not pretty, but the Bulls will take it.
Now you can feel the momentum now really surging for Chicago. The crowd into it. Bulls very active. Chandler, after the offensive rebound, sets the screen, rolls, gets the bucket to go, and he'll go to the free throw line. And this is a very dangerous time here, these last few minutes of the third, for Pat Riley and the Heat.
Foul on Haslam. Chandler only a 50% free throw shooter. Haslam with the save. Miami now down by 13, biggest lead of the night for Chicago. Shot clock to 5. Good job by Dang. Out Walker. Chandler came over, got a piece of it. Heinrich on the floor, has it deflected. Out of bounds. Last touch by Heinrich.
What a phenomenal defensive possession for Scott Skiles' club there. That was amazing defense by Deng, staying in front of Walker, and then the help coming from Chandler. They just couldn't secure the rebound.
James Posey will come on for Michael Goliak. So Miami with a small lineup. They have Walker, Haslam, and Posey up front. Wade and Williams at the guard. 3.5 to play in the third. Walker guarded by Nocioni. Lost the dribble, and it's had it out of bounds. Last touch by Gordon. Miami ball.
Well, the Bulls' activity the last few minutes has really picked up defensively. And again, without Shaq in the lineup, the Bulls can play their style of defense. They don't have to worry about that post up and recovery to shooters.
Shaq stayed on the floor only 14 minutes. Wade trying to go behind the back, and a toss. Bodies falling all over the floor as the Bulls get it down. Here's Gordon for 3. And back comes Walker. Wade ahead of the field. That leads to a Chicago timeout.
Now the crowd is booing. They felt that Nocioni was fouled on that fast break. He was tripped from behind, and then he was unaware that Dwayne Wade was behind him. The old cherry pick play, Marv, and Dwayne Wade with the wide open dunk.
Welcome back to Chicago, where the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade trailing 76-65. Dwayne Wade is back home here in Chicago. This is where he grew up as a very big Bulls fan, right near the L Station. In this home in the southwest part of the city. He then attended Richard High School in Oak Lawn, where he averaged 27 points and 11 rebounds a game as a senior, and earned a scholarship to Marquette University. However, he has had trouble playing against his hometown team, the Chicago Bulls, this year. Averaged only 12 points and 24% from the field. He does have 30 people here, including his mother, Jolinda, and earlier Marv was mentioning that he is not talking to his family during this trip, focusing on the playoffs. Steve said that is conduct detrimental to the family. However, it doesn't bother his mother, Jolinda. She says she converses with a higher source. She is a minister and has a lot of ministry work to do, so much so, in fact, that she can't come to the game Sunday anyway because she has to give a sermon.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Craig. Bulls off that bucket by Gordon. Now lead by 13 points, and Wade draws the foul. Now, Steve, you tried that in the past, not talking at all to your family.
Oh, I'm doing that this playoff season, Marv. I
understand it.
The pressures of, the ticket requests,
right,
the meals, everybody wants a piece of the action.
And I think they're very fortunate. Let's go to Ernie in our Atlanta studios.
All right, thank you, Marv. Southwest Game Break to update the Pacers and the Nets. Jermaine O'Neal is having a huge game. Look at the feed right here inside to Anthony Johnson for a couple. He's got 37 points, does Jermaine O'Neal, 14 rebounds, and here comes one of his 4 blocks, this one on Richard Jefferson. And with about 2.5 minutes to play, it's 102-89, Indiana leading New Jersey. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Ernie. This following 2 unproductive games by Jermaine O'Neal, who was in foul trouble in both games 1 and 2, and the Nets did an excellent defensive job on it.
Well, speaking of O'Neal and foul trouble, Shaq is still over on the Miami bench with 4. See the foul there on Gary Payton. And you wonder, even if Shaq comes back, which I'm sure he will sooner or later, can he get anything going? He's not accustomed to this situation. He's only played 14 minutes. It's later in his career. It takes him a lot longer to loosen up. You wonder how effective he can be tonight in the 4th quarter.
And we're talking of the Chicago Bulls of combinations of Michael Sweetman, Malik Allen, Tyson Chandler somewhat, and Luke Shenshik, who have been playing against Shaq here tonight.
Well, they've all done a nice job, and the Bulls' perimeter players have been good in terms of penetrating. They picked up a couple of fouls on him. I think Heinrich drew one, Gordon the other. So O'Neal has not been a factor. And the Bulls really threatening to break this game open.
And Shaq is back. Wade and Payton in the backcourt. O'Neal up front with Posey and Walker. Here's Posey wide open for three. Yes. James Posey continues to hit the three-point shot. He had 3 in each of the first 2 games. Bulls now lead 80-69. Miami 8 of 17 from downtown. Good recovery defensively by Miami. Heinrich for Dang and a foul. Walker tried to strip him and made contact.
Well, you can see the Bulls' offensive philosophy, particularly with this small lineup here, Marv. Everybody capable of shooting the ball, putting it on the floor, and they're so quick and active tonight. They've been really energetic, and they're doing a nice job of getting penetration into the paint.
And the Bulls here in the third quarter, 10 of 14 from the field.
Yeah, they've been great, and a lot of it is just that activity, that edge, and also at the defensive end, they've been better, and the game's tied together. You know, you play better defense, it gives you better transition opportunities. You make shots, then you're in better defensive position. So doing a nice job really putting the entire game together tonight.
A desperation game for the Bulls to get back into the series. Game 4 here on Sunday afternoon. Miami comes in, winners of games 1 and 2. And if necessary, a game 5 back in Miami on Tuesday.
I think the hard thing for a young club is to feel like you're still in it when it's 2-0. There's a foul on Tyson Chandler, but young clubs, Marv, they get down 2-0. It just feels sometimes like the series is over, and Scott Skiles surely reminded his club that all Miami did was hold serve, as you said. Tonight, if they can pull off the win, they're right where they're supposed to be, a chance to even the series at home on Sunday.
Posey at the line. This a Miami team that went 52-30 in the regular season. They finished as the 2nd seed in the East behind Detroit. Pat Riley taking over from Stan Van Gundy. A team that last year won 59 games. That was the best record in the East. And in the playoffs, they swept the Nets, swept the Wizards, and then lost to the Pistons in 7 in the Eastern Conference Final. Coming up on a minute left in the first quarter. Wade with the crossover. Wade kicks it out. Posey for 3. Good job by Chandler. Dang takes to the rim. What a move. He went left, beating Walker off the dribble.
And that's part of their strategy for Chicago. Run the ball up the court. You can see Shaquille O'Neal barely made it to the free throw line by the time Deng was at the rim.
Heinrich looking for the steal, protected by Wade. Wade. Chandler with the rebound. And again, Bulls on the run. Duhan straight down the lane and a foul.
Now this is big for Chicago. Remember that Posey 3 would have cut the lead to 7. He misses. Deng gets the layup in transition. Now a couple of free throws coming for Duhan, so a chance to really close this quarter strongly for Chicago and head into the fourth with maybe a 14-point lead.
Foul on Posey, his first. But log on to NBA.com or AOL.com/NBA and check out TNT Overtime. You can download replays of Inside the NBA, playoff analysis, and TNT Courtside. Half minute left in the third, and the Bulls lead 85-71. Here's the double on Shaq. Has to give it up. And a foul. Crowd wanted it on O'Neal, but it's called on Chandler.
Well, Bernie Fryer pretty quick with the call. Chandler can't believe it. That would have been number 5 on O'Neal. Crowd sees the replay. Chandler looks up at the scoreboard and sees it. Let's take a look. O'Neal on the catch. turns, elbow, and what Fryer is calling is the two hands to the back that Chandler had on O'Neal. So he's saying that the foul on Chandler occurred prior to the elbow, but that very easily could have gone on Shaq.
O'Neal is now 0 for 4 at the line. Is coming off the 6 of 7 in game 2. Jason Williams returns.
Big thing for Chicago now. Chandler goes out of the game. Can you secure a defensive rebound? You've got Chris Duhon and Deng down low covering up. Shaq has missed all of his free throws. There's very likely one bouncing off the rim here. They need to get this board.
This is a danger area for lane violation. Well, you see Gordon jumping it immediately.
Yeah.
With 12 seconds left in the third, and both teams crashing the board.
And who's Shaq going to guard now at the other end? You've got 5 guards on the floor for Chicago, and they'll have an advantage here offensively.
Final seconds of the third. Gordon putting a move on Anderson. Gordon all the way! And that wraps up the fourth quarter. Ben Gordon able to penetrate. They're on their feet here at the United Center. The Bulls with an 87-71 lead on the Heat as they connect on 13 of 18 from the field in the third. They outscore Miami 39-29. Back in Chicago, time for the injury report brought to you by Save, the new drama about paramedics coming to TNT on June the 12th. Well, you look at this injury rundown, and all 3 guys have played despite injuries. Alonzo Mourning returning, first game since March the 22nd, despite that calf problem. Chris Duhon has been hanging in with the strained back, and Malik Allen was a question mark because of the back spasm.
Well, it's a bigger problem for Miami than it is for Chicago. The Bulls very deep, and to start this fourth quarter now, Wade on the bench, Shaq with 4 fouls, and Mourning ineffective. Heat in some trouble.
There's Dang. Jason Williams, Gary Payton in the backcourt. Shannon Anderson up front with Shaquille O'Neal and James Posey. They converge on Shaq. Now single coverage. And it's thrown away. Picked up by Heinrich. Duhon goes right at Posey. And the foul on Posey for a block.
Now Chicago looking to continue that torrid pace from the third quarter, Marv. Take a look at some of these numbers. 39 points, 13 of 18 field goals, 7 assists, and just 1 turnover. And Scott Skiles' club did everything right in that quarter. They got out in transition. They shared the basketball. They moved. They played with great energy. And they are just totally outplaying Miami here tonight.
Talked about Chris Duhon, who probably will need surgery following the season. Second year out of Duke. Member of Duke's national championship team back in 2001. Bulls lead 88-71. Opening minutes, fourth quarter. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr and Craig Sager. Here's O'Neal trying to bank it. And his troubles continue.
Well, he has no flow, no rhythm to the game. Deng comes up with a loose ball, the bucket, and the foul.
That is number 5 on O'Neal. And the crowd reacts to the announcement on the public address that it is 5 on Shaq.
Well, Shaq has been a step slow all night tonight, Marv. You see the push from behind on Sweetney. Deng gets the bucket. Sweetney will get 1 free throw. And for Shaquille O'Neal, we talked about it earlier. 2 days of rest coming into tonight, coming off of 2 brilliant performances. I don't think anybody could have expected this.
Shaq bothered all season with that hyperextended left knee and a sore ankle, but did not seem to bother him at all. As you mentioned, those first 2 games.
And the floodgates have opened up here for Chicago. They are feeling it offensively.
Gordon fouled by Shandon Anderson. Blocking foul. Antoine Walker and Dwayne Wade now return. Peyton and Anderson will sit down. For more on Shaq, let's go to Craig.
This is Shaquille O'Neal's 174th career playoff game. In all but one of the previous 173, he has scored in double figures. The only game he did not was 2 years ago, his final year with the Lakers. He had just 7 points in the second game of our opening series against the Houston Rockets. Tonight, he has but 2.
Well, Dang went right at O'Neal, trying to draw number 6. Just Wade off the intercept, wrapped up by Heinrich. Heinrich with number 4, and they are discussing, is that a clear path foul?
I don't think they're going to give it to him, Marv. Duhan makes an ill-advised pass there, trying to hit Heinrich. The deflection from Williams, and take a look coming from the side. You could make a case right there that Heinrich is actually behind Wade. Apparently, Mark Wunderlich calls the foul as he's on the side, and Bulls get a break.
Just Wade digging on Dang, way off, rebound O'Neal. So for Shaq, only his 2nd field goal.
This is one of the things Scott Skiles talked to us about before the game. Shaq really scored 4 baskets in game 2 on his own in the half court, but got several lobs and a few offensive rebounds. That's where he really hurt Chicago.
Nice give and go. Heinrich blocked though by Wade, and he caught it out of bounds. So the ball back to Miami.
If you're Chicago, you don't want to give up this frenetic pace that has really pushed Miami backwards, but at the same time, you can't start turning the ball over and let Miami get some groove offensively in transition.
Shaq's previous field goal took place midway through the first. Good play defensively by the Bulls. Recovered though by Posey and went with the left hand. Bulls take a timeout.
Now Scott Skiles very concerned here. He's got this big lead, but he can feel a little momentum slipping away. Try to right the ship here during the timeout.
Well, it is that time for yet another edition of Steve Wonders, which is still unsponsored.
Doesn't bother me, though. You know what I was mulling over today, Mark?
It does bother you.
It doesn't bother me. I'm my own man. I don't need a sponsor. Pat Riley's going for his 5th NBA championship as a coach. His first since 1988, a span of 18 years. So what I was mulling over during my pregame meditation period was, what's the longest time between NBA titles for a head coach? Well, Alex Hannum, 9 years, from 1958 to 1967. That would be a record that Pat Riley would love to obliterate.
Alex doing it with the St. Louis Hawks and then the Philadelphia Warriors. They had moved from Syracuse. Off the steal, here's Jason Williams. Dwayne Wade. Good job by Nocioni. And Wade shoots over him, rebounded by Nocioni. So you were mulling,
pondering.
Dang extends to an 18-point Chicago lead.
Well, looked for a moment like Miami was going to continue to cut into this lead, but Nocioni, good defense on Wade, and Wade very demoralized. Wanted a foul call, didn't get back defensively. That leads to the wide open look for Deng.
Dang, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Here's Posey for 3. Nocioni down 8 rebounds along with 15 points. He set the pace early. Dang has it knocked away, recovered though by Nocioni. And Gordon resets. Here's Gordon. Looked like he wanted to challenge Shaq. Nocioni off balance. And deflects it out.
Chicago just spreading Miami out, trying to use penetration, trying to use Shaquille O'Neal in a screen and roll situation, but Miami doing a nice job of staying with shooters.
4 minutes have gone by in this fourth quarter, and the Bulls lead 93-75. Shaquille O'Neal with just 2 field goals, 2 of 5 from the field. That is called for a traveling violation. It has been a very long night for Shaq.
Well, the thing for Chicago now is they don't have to worry about him dominating the game. They've got this lead, so they don't have to come down so hard on the double team. And on top of that, Shaq is in no rhythm at all, so a one-on-one coverage might be enough.
That was turnover number 6 for Shaquille O'Neal. They double up on O'Neal. And O'Neal makes his move and steps out of bounds. Steve, I tell you, when you look back at this one, in the illustrious 14-year career of Shaquille O'Neal, this may go down as his worst performance of all time.
I can't imagine that it wouldn't. I mean, we heard Craig Sager talk about his 7-point performance against Houston. I doubt he had 7 turnovers and 5 fouls.
Oh, nice pass, and Gang is fouled. Beautiful pass from Gordon. Foul on Posey.
Well, and the other area where Shaq has struggled is defensive intensity and recognition. First half, we saw him late sliding over to help. And you see right here, Luol Deng slides right behind the Miami defense. Shaq with his hands down. Watch Deng. And they're kind of in a little bit of a zone. But Shaq has had no activity whatsoever defensively. And if you're Chicago, you love it. On the other hand, as we know with O'Neal, he will come out for Game 4 extremely ready. And I'm interested in looking at his comments tomorrow in the paper.
And he will react to what is written here in the Chicago papers. You know who got the clips from Miami. And that will serve as part of his motivation.
No question. He has used that as motivation throughout his career. And he'll have plenty of it for Game 4.
And that's a blocking foul. Offensive foul on Antoine Walker. That is his 5th.
And another turnover for this Miami offense.
Gordon with the step. Rebounded by Gordon. Jason Williams flying down court. O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Nice entry pass from Walker, and Shaq with only his 3rd field goal. Dang, yes.
Marv, could you have ever imagined when you were watching the Knicks all those years, seeing a Pat Riley team go to a zone, basically conceding the fact that they couldn't guard anybody?
Well, he was upfront about the fact that he didn't believe in the zone. He wanted guys going one-on-one.
And they are resorting to that zone tonight because the Bulls have just run past them at every opportunity.
You ready? Sometimes the toughest life to save is your own. I'm all in. Tom Everett Scott saved an all-new original series coming this June only on TNT.
You're watching the first of our TNT playoff doubleheader coming up next. Game 3 between the Clippers and the Nuggets, followed by Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai. Chris Kaman of the Clippers was a question mark because of an ankle injury, but we're told he will play. Game 3, Nuggets and Clippers next. 6.5 to go here in the 4th. The Bulls up 96-77. Wade struggling to get that shot off. Played tightly by Heinrich, but able to score. So Dwayne Wade with 22 points. But he has been held in check. Shaq has been unproductive. He's been in foul trouble throughout. Nocioni, yes. Make it 17 points for Andres Nocioni.
Boy, Chicago's been sharp offensively all night, Marv. You see the penetration, the screening, the sharing of the basketball. And as we talked about, they've had the edge that Miami has not had.
Posey, and he's fouled. He was held. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, and Craig Sager. Sellout crowd here at United Center in Chicago. There have been 22,000 on hand, and the Bulls have come up with a big performance They did win 5 of the last 6 here at home in the regular season. They finished at 41-41 during the regular campaign. The number 7 seed. They rallied to make the playoffs, won their final 12 of their last 14 games. Lost the first 2 in Miami in this series, but they are in the process of blowing out the Heat to get back into it. Here's Wade, a twisting shot, beautifully done by Wade.
Well, and I think what was important about those first 2 games in Miami, Marv, is that Bulls played well. I mean, it's not like they got blown out. They knew coming into tonight that they could very easily come away with a victory if they continued to do some things that they did in games 1 and 2, and yet make a couple of improvements.
Traveling violation. That's the first turnover committed by Kirk Heinrich. Look at that stat line. 20 points, 11 assists, 1 turnover. He has not shot the ball well, just 6 of 17, but he's had an outstanding game.
And just 10 turnovers as a team for Chicago. We talked about that being one of the keys here. Wade trying to take over here late, and Posey with the rebound.
Posey hit on a reach-in. It is a non-shooting foul, 13th foul on Chicago. Let's check in with Ernie back in our Atlanta studio.
Yeah, Marv, it's a Southwest Airlines game break, and Steve Kerr is not the only guy who shows up for work wearing a smoking jacket. Here is Carmelo Anthony arriving for work, and needs to be more substance over style tonight for the Nuggets, who are down 2-0. That's game 2 of our doubleheader. Back to you, Marv.
I can picture the smoking jacket and the chef's hat. It really works well. O'Neal with the bucket and the foul. So Shaq will go to the line where he is 0 for 5.
I think just as it was important for Chicago to play well down the stretch in game 2, it's important for Miami to come up with something here down the stretch just to at least gain some confidence going into game 4, because it's been utter domination for Chicago here tonight across the board. They have outplayed Miami.
That foul was called on Heinrich, number 5 on Kirk Heinrich. Here's Dang. Yes. Blew out Dang. 15 points, 7 rebounds. Bulls lead by 17. Pass intended for Haslem. Save. Here's Wade. Wade with a reverse and draws the foul.
Boy, he's fun to watch, even when his team's getting blown out. The athleticism is so amazing. But we talked about the domination. Take a look at this, 40 to 32 points in the paint. Remember, that was a demolishment by Miami in the first 2 games. Fast break points, 19 to 4. Assists and turnovers were so key. That's what Scott Skiles told us before the game. And those turnovers have helped Chicago hold Miami to 43% shooting, because they've been in good position defensively in transition.
Foul called on Chandler. That is number 5. So Wade to the line, 6 of 7 at the line.
You know, one of my favorite quotes from Greg Popovich while playing for San Antonio all those years was, he said it's important for a team to have appropriate fear. And you know, you look at the faces of Walker and Payton, and you know, I don't know if they had appropriate fear coming into tonight. You know, you can't be afraid of your opponent, but you have to respect them, and you have to have that edge that says, you know, if we don't play well, we're going to lose. And they've got to come out for game 4 with some appropriate fear, because otherwise this series will be tied and the pressure will be totally on Miami going back to their hometown for game 5.
Gordon tried to slip it inside. Here's Dang going glass. Williams to the pull-up for 3.
Oh, great fight by Chandler.
Chandler able to tip it over to Heinrich. Gordon with the step. Here's Gordon with the teardrop. Crowd wanted a foul on O'Neal. You can hear the reaction. There was anticipation of number 6 on Shaq.
I'll take a look at Gordon coming in for the floater. Drives baseline around Posey, attacks Shaq. And, you know, the reason that could be a call, and Gordon's shaken up, you know, it didn't look like Shaq did much, but normally in that case, you're supposed to square up your body to the defender. He kind of leaned into him to the side, and that's a call that you can pick up very easily. The crowd Apparently begs to differ, Marv.
Yes, begs to differ. Coming up on 3 minutes to play in the fourth. O'Neal firing one up. He was looking for a call. 4 on 2. Oh, look out. Posey with a hard foul, and Heinrich wants to go after him. Posey has been tossed. James Posey throwing a shoulder in the direction of Kirk Heinrich, and he's immediately ejected.
Well, looks like a little page out of the old school of Pat Riley's Knicks. Xavier McDaniel, Charles Oakley, that was the kind of shot that they would throw. Perhaps trying to send a message or build a little intensity for his club heading into Game 5 or Game 4 on Sunday.
It's a flagrant 2 on James Posey. And a heads-up play by Andres Nocioni to step in front of Kirk Heinrich. He did not want Heinrich to get involved.
Yeah, that was absolutely flagrant because he steps in and just chucks him. It doesn't extend the elbow. If he had extended the arm, Marvin, he would have been facing a suspension. As it is, he still could be. I mean, you look at what Artest did the other night against Ginobili. There's a possibility the league will look at that and remove Posey from Game 4 via suspension.
I could see Stu Jackson queuing up the tape as we speak.
As we speak.
So the 2 free throws are now possession for Chicago. Bulls lead 101-85. Earlier tonight, Indiana beat the Nets 107-95. And now a foul is called away from the ball on Antoine Walker, and he is hit with a technical. Bernie Fryer cues him up.
Frustration setting in for Miami. Posey and Walker, and the key for the Heat, Marv, is to show up for Game 4 with the same type of intensity they're showing right now and convert it into better play.
Walker is fouled out. That was number 6. He's hit with a technical. And Gordon will shoot the tee. Antoine Walker, 11 points and 6 rebounds.
Remember what we talked about at the beginning of this game. Miami was in complete control of this series, but playoff basketball, one game can change everything. It's all about momentum. And you pick up a win, the crowd's into it, all of a sudden, you take a look at the replay here. He holds Deng on the baseline, and you throw that fist like that, that's usually going to get you a tee. But all of a sudden now, Marv, Chicago wins this game. The crowd's into it. The Heat players losing control here.
Udonis Haslem apparently had something to say to Bernie Fryer. Another technical handed out, and Heinrich able to knock it down.
And all of a sudden, this series has taken on a totally different complexion.
Let's go over to Craig Sager.
Well, all this is happening right in front of the eyes of the NBA's senior vice president, director of basketball operations, Stu Jackson. I just talked to him moments ago, particularly about the James Posey foul and Kirk Heinrich. He said it happened in front of him. He said he saw Posey running down the court, actually sizing up Kirk Heinrich. He said it definitely was a flagrant 2, should have been immediately sent to the locker room, and he will be reviewing it to see if there is a possible suspension.
All right, so Stu was queuing it up in his head.
Yes.
He is here at the United Center.
Those are ominous words, though, if you're a Miami fan.
Yes.
Because it sounds like he's got his mind made up already.
Here's Wade for 3. And a loose ball foul on Haslem. Stepping in front of Deng. A timeout called with just under 3 to go. In this fourth quarter, it's been all Chicago. All right, Steve, time for the Marines teamwork play of the game.
Well, Chicago has shown great teamwork at both ends of the floor. You see harassing, Shaquille O'Neal. Luol Deng comes up with the steal, and then this is what you want to see out of your point guard, Kirk Heinrich. Feed the guy an easy hoop, get him going. No coincidence now, Deng with 19 points. Just getting an early bucket like that is so important for a player's confidence, especially a young guy. And the Bulls in control here.
And Pat Riley trying to settle his team down. Miami losing its composure. Look at that 6-second span. They hit with a flagrant 2 on Posey. 2 technicals. Posey ejected. Walker fouled out. He was hit with one of those technical fouls.
And now you can't wait to see the atmosphere in the United Center on Sunday for Game 4, because this crowd, they know their team was in the first 2 games. They know they can compete with the Heat. Now coming off a blowout, this place is going to be electric.
Well, the Bulls severely outplaying the Heat right from the start. Came out strong. In contrast to what took place over the first 2 games, Derek Anderson able to knock it down. 2.5 to play in this fourth quarter, and the Bulls now lead 106-87. And a host of standouts for Chicago. Kirk Heinrich, 22 points, 11 assists. Ben Gordon shot well, 23 points. Foul is called. Andres Nocioni got off to that quick start. 19 points in all. Luol Deng with 19 points. And here's Eric Piatkowski coming out for Luol Deng, who hears it from the crowd. So Scott Skiles has used his entire roster. A foul called on Wayne Simeon of Miami. Rookie from Kansas just came on.
Well, Marv, I know you love the picture of me wearing the hat. Oh, there it is. This is what we talked about. Limit the turnovers. They've done that. So just 10. Contain Walker and Williams, not so much. They each played well, particularly in the first half. But the quick start, I think, you see 31 points in the first quarter, 8-point lead. That allowed Chicago to control the game. They didn't have to continue to fight from behind as they did in the first 2 games. And I will continue to put my chef's hat on throughout the playoffs.
That's a warning.
Because I know how much you enjoy it.
That's the hat trick. We've seen that 3 times tonight. Our producer, Scooter Bertino, director Renardo Lowe, associate director Tom Heitz, production assistants General Bernardo, Wayne Fiddleman, and our statistician Chuck Gardner. As usual, terrific job by our guys tonight as Gordon fires for 3. Chicago Bulls get back into this series after Miami took the first 2 games. Here's Simeon with a nice fake on Harrington, rebounded by Pargo. So both teams have emptied their benches. Shaquille O'Neal, like to forget about what took place here tonight. 25 minutes. He was in foul trouble throughout. Just 8 points, 4 rebounds, 7 turnovers.
Marv, I know you're a big fan of cliches, but there are a lot of playoff cliches, right? One of them is the series doesn't start until the home team loses. Another one. Yeah. Series doesn't start until each team has won a game.
Yes.
And there's Kenny's favorite. The series doesn't start until one team faces elimination. Which is your favorite? What do you believe in?
I mean, those are so good that I just can't make a decision as Derek Anderson knocks it down. I'm a backs to the wall guy myself.
Backs to the wall. Playing for their playoff lives.
Can't hear that enough, you know. There's Piatkowski passing on the shot.
How about the playoffs don't start until game 1?
Yeah, that's good. Here's
my favorite. The reason I bring it up, though, Mark,
I was wondering where we're going here.
Okay, there's a transition here. Do you get the sense now that this series is about to start? I mean, the first 2 games, it was like the Bulls were kind of the little team, the little engine that could. They're trying to knock off the big fella with Shaq. Now all of a sudden, Bulls in control here tonight, 8-0 all time. Of course, I believe 7 of those were with the guy who's up in the suite and Bill Wennington. But don't you get the feeling that this series is really going to get going on Sunday?
So you killed Judd Bushler earlier, and now Bill Wennington.
Hey, killed him? What are you talking about? I was talking about the era that they were part of.
Well, there will be a Game 5 in Miami on Tuesday night. We'll have it right here on TNT. What a doubleheader. Bulls and the Heat, followed by the Lakers and the Suns. That is coming up on Tuesday night right here on TNT. Standing ovation from this crowd. Here's Pargo. Yes! Final seconds. The Bulls blow out the Heat 109 to 90 in what developed into a testy game in the final minutes. 5 Bulls in double figures. Miami now leads the series 2 games to 1. Coming up next, following a quick break, it's the Clippers and the Nuggets. For Greg Sager, Steve Kerr, and our entire crew, I'm Marv Albert saying good night from Chicago. You're watching TNT, the exclusive home of the 2006 Western Conference Finals.